Okay guys, this video is going to be a few stippling tips and tricks you can use as you're trying to get your stippling drawing started. Now what I want you to understand first and foremost is stippling is going to have to be in stages. I know those time lapses that you guys have probably seen within your modules do have a lot of really interesting kind of visuals on how those artists finish their stippling. However, those time lapses are probably over the course of like 7-8 hours, probably days, to be honest. So I'm not asking you to sit down and finish everything in one setting, but what I am asking you to do is to do about an hour's worth of progress today. Now this progress here has taken me about 30 minutes. I can continue to work on this, and I'll make sure that, I will post an image of this as well in today's module for what your progress might look like. Now, I would gravitate towards working more towards the top of your image because you don't want to go into too many different areas and start smudging the ink with your hand, especially if you're using a personal pen, like a gel pen or something like that. It will smudge. Now, most of what you do today can be done with this Sharpie. That's your skinny Sharpie. I don't want you using your thick Sharpie because the points will be too big in your stippling, but this should suffice for most of what you do. If you have an artist pen like that, great, you can use that. There's different weights and sizes, but really all you need at a base level is this ultra fine point Sharpie, all right? So what I wanna go ahead and show you is a few things. First and foremost, I'm working from this reference image. So the areas that are jet black, as you can see, like around the eyes here, the pupils, the nose, feel free if you want to go ahead and actually kind of block in some of those areas. I don't mind if it's not entirely stippled in those areas, but it needs to seem like a seamless transition into your stippling. There's no point in you guys spending hours trying to black in these areas with dots. However, it shouldn't appear like a line later on. So if you kind of get into thinner areas and you want to kind of fade that out a little bit with your stippling, feel free. That'll give it the overall general effect of a stipple drawing. So you can see like around the edges there, I'm kind of adding some stippling to create that. Then I can, as long as I know it's jet black, I can fill that in. All right. Now, as I kind of have my pupil here as well, there's going to be some areas that aren't jet black and aren't white. So for instance, if I look at this lemur's eye over here, you can see, all right, the whole eye isn't white. There's only that one white highlight. Same with a lot of the hair around it too. So as I'm working, I want you guys to think more in terms of, okay, how can I add these middle grays? So while this Sharpie is going to have a nice weight for most of the drawing, there are going to be areas where you're going to say, you know what, that's going to be too dark for this. Maybe I should use a smaller point. So you can get out just a regular black pen, and you can see those dots are much finer. All right, so it's going to allow me the opportunity to really explore my lighter values, all right, lighter tones. So I'm not gonna layer quite as much because I want this to be a lighter gray. All right, now if I see like there's areas within this eye that are different types of grays, I can slightly layer a little bit more into those areas. Like I see that in this lemur's eye that there are some different grays within there. All right, however, for you guys, the main thing is just understanding that you can use different size pens for different sections. All right, now, if I see like a white highlight, for instance, I'm gonna go around and skip those white highlights. I'm not gonna create a ring around them, but I am gonna skip those white highlights to start to bring them out and make them more apparent so that I get that kind of glossy look in my eye, okay? So that's how you can do some of your middle grays. Now, as you move forward and you get into some of the hair, feel free to kind of manipulate your line or your dots into like smaller lines if you want to. Now, these aren't overwhelmingly hatching. It's kind of like a hybrid between your stippling and your hatching. So if you really look closely, you can see how I'm almost dragging the dot just slightly. You can also see how I'm not going up and down really slow. I'm speeding it up by keeping my pen or my Sharpie really close to the surface, and that's going to allow me to have a lot of dots in a short period of time. All right. Also, this lemur does have these really long kind of eyelash hairs. All right. If you want to do some of those longer hairs a little bit more accurately, there are going to be areas where you can do things like this just for the overall realism of the image. There's no point stippling those areas. However, what I don't want you to do is just to start to add lines in all these areas and in this part of the face. You need to transition it so it looks like a stippled piece and understand that, okay, if it's lighter, I'm gonna add less dots, and if it's darker, I'm gonna add more layering, okay? So I want you to spend about 1 hour's worth of time today really trying to get as much done as possible on this image. Next class, we'll do our second progress step. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So if you get confused, experiment on a separate sheet of paper, view some more time lapses. You know, just because I put one in the module today doesn't mean you can't explore more on the internet. All right. So good luck, everybody. And if you need anything, let us know.